In these few videos, we're going to go back to our HPI admin data and just create a little dashboard. And the purpose of this dashboard is to introduce another set of visualizations. So we're going to start off with gauges. Gauges are semicircles which show how much you have done towards a certain target. So over here, this is a gauge. So if I click on that, and I will focus on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the average terraced price. So this is a house, it could be in America a townhouse. It has neighbours on either side as opposed to a semi-detached which only has a neighbour on one side. So I'm going to add this terraced price into the value, and you can see this is not the price for a particular house, so I'm going to change it to the average. So we have an average of £80,000 or dollars. Now you'll notice that the gauge is half full. We start at 0 and go all the way down to twice the current value, and that is intentional. So what I could do is say, well, I want the minimum to be a certain field and the maximum to be a certain field. So maybe I want the maximum to be the detached price. So I'll drag detached price into there. You can see all the colour disappears because, again, I need to change the aggregation. So we now have a maximum of £166,000 or dollars, and that is the detached price average. More likely, however, you may want to actually just fix the minimum and the maximum price, because let's have a look at what happens if I take that out and I put in a slicer. So let's add a new visualization, a slicer, and this is going to be based on the region name. So I'll add region name into there. So we have this gauge, and if I click on Greater Manchester, you can see that the average is 77,780, for Merseyside 73, but wherever I click, this is always going to be halfway across the circle. That doesn't really inform me. So instead, I'm going to go into the formatting, into the gauge axis, and I'm going to manually put in my minimum, my maximum, and my target. So let's say I have a minimum value of 50,000, a maximum value of 150,000, and I want to see how I'm doing to my target of getting the average house price to 80,000. And you can see the average house price here for these terraced houses is being represented by a line. So you can see that I'm over my target in Tyne and Wear and West Midlands. I'm at my target in West Yorkshire, and I'm below my target in Merseyside and South Yorkshire. Now, it could be that you want a variable target. Maybe you want the target to be the semi-detached price. For some reason, you want to make the terraced price the same as the semi-detached price. So I'll put that into the target value, and nothing seems to happen. Again, it's the aggregation that's the fault. So here we can see on a scale of 50 to 150, that in Merseyside, the average price is 73,000, and our target, the one we're trying to get to, is 104. And by having fixed minimum and maximums, then you can see the relative performance of each of these regions. Now looking at the formatting, so we've had a look at the gauge axis, data colors, the fill and target. You can do conditional formatting with those as well. The data labels are the 50,000 and the 150,000. The target is this line here. And with these things, you can change the color, you can change how it's displayed in terms of units. The call out value is this one. So you can either switch it off, or you can say, well, actually, I want this to be displayed in exact. So number of units, none. I don't want it to be in thousands or millions or billions or trillions. And I could also potentially, for some types of fields, say I want it to be in so many decimal places as well. But for me, saying it's in 73.73k, 79.73k is fine. So these are gauges. They have an actual value, they have a target value, and they also have a minimum and a maximum. So gauges, it's for measuring progress towards a certain target. And sometimes we might be above that target. Remember that target was 80,000. We were above that.